through the lenses of the ego mind, without realizing the lenses themselves, or further, that what you think and believe to be reality is really reality, which it isn't, of course, it's just perceptions. Maybe it gives you a little bit of a clue how we unconsciously fall into what some people call the trance of everyday life. And you just watch people, and they're all in trance, aren't they? Watch how they drive. Watch how they talk. Look how they drink their coffee. Just watch. See if anybody's even listening. See if anybody's even present. It's pretty darn uncommon. The trance of everyday life. It really brought the gig. And we're just now on this leaf in this river of life flowing along, and wherever it goes, who knows? You know, that's just the way it is. And again, it's all based on falsely thinking we are these conceptualizations. That's really who we are. And it could take on different persona, beliefs, roles, identities, distinctions, philosophies, judgments, you name it. We'll use anything in the conceptual realm. So, and by the way, the role-playing is very big in our society. Video games is a whole category of RPGs, role-playing games, and all, you know, where you get to take on different roles. And then you go in the chat rooms and play around the internet, you don't know who the hell you're talking to. I mean, you really don't. They can dress themselves up and pick out any symbol they want. They put any picture they want. You have no idea who you're talking to. You have no idea. Kind of dangerous, actually. So the two core illusions, anybody want to take a stab on this? What are the two core illusions above and beyond everything? Any idea? This is at the heart of the matter. Ego mind will convince you that it's real with all those beliefs and concepts and conceptualizations and identities. Yeah, that's one. And the flip side, of course, is that the true self, who you truly are, that's unreal. And they're both blatant lies. They're the two core illusions. If you see through those, you're already back with us. How is the world and all that occurs typically seen? More specifically, how is the world and all that appears generally seen through the ego mind's lenses? And even more specifically, when all the ego defenses finally break down, when the liquor doesn't work anymore, when the fast times don't work anymore, when the video games, you're just like, you can't look at another one. It's like one more step and you just, none of it means anything, right? And usually that happens in my practice somewhere between the mid-30s, about the mid-40s. Some road warriors make it into the late 40s, early 50s, but they all break down. None of them work after a while. So whatever you use, if you use rationalization, intellectualization, or projection, or seeking, or the next seminar is going to save me, or whatever the gig is, none of it works anymore. It all falls apart. Whatever your favorite addictions are and attachments are and fixes are, none of them work. It's kind of classic addiction patterning. You can't stop. It has you. And you need more to have the same thrill, and even that isn't getting it for you, and so it's time for rehab. More specifically, when all the ego defenses finally break down, that finally, ultimately, inevitably occurs, and you give up, and it all proves useless, how is emptiness and the clarion call for surrender, surrendering what is false, for surrendering who you are not, what does that really look like? So if this illusory realm is simply projected on the basis of the mind and conditioning and predispositions and how present you are, and, or not, shall we say, and the unconscious and all that's going on in that realm, which all, by the way, gut real choice. All we have is really apparent choice, which is okay. Nothing wrong with it. Or choiceless, if you prefer to call it that. So given that, patterning of projection, positive and negative, onto the world, the empirical world, how is this concrete world really any different, fundamentally? Well, of course, it isn't. And at the same time, as any Zen master who you know, have somebody come forward and say it's all empty and illusion and whatever, they pick up the biggest rock they have and throw it at the person and say, how does that feel? How's that for your illusion? And all of a sudden, the student doesn't figure they got the whole story. You can say the illusory world is termed sometimes Maya, or illusion. Sometimes it also stands for separation, as Gary was mentioning. And it's illusory because it isn't real. It's kind of what our mind made up, we bought, we identified with, and we act as if it is real, we speak as if it's real. It just happens not to be real. That's why we call it illusory. Illusions aren't real, they're just illusions. Some writers aren't so kind about this, and they use the word just blatant ignorance. Buddha was much kinder, he called it unawareness. Is any idea, concept, words, conceptualization of you real? True. Does any of that even exist? Or is all that just made up? And they follow themselves on Twitter, and all that stuff happens, right? It's incredible. The story of you, the story of me, and it's just endlessly fascinating. We just never grow tired of it, does it? Amazing. As an author, I like, the name of Chuck Hillig in Seeds from the Soul makes this phenomenal statement. He says, the world is not the illusion. It's you who are the illusion. Who you are is the context that the entire world is happening to. So, when you open your eyes, the universe is born. When you close your eyes, the universe is no more. Does that give you a hint of where the universe actually lies? In your head. Well, within your very consciousness and awareness and perceptions. Another way to look at it is James Schwartz asks, another non-dual author, do I see the world because it is there, or is the world there because I see it? That's a very powerful question. Chuck Hillig has a perfect term for this. You know what he calls it? He calls it the software that thinks it's hardware. I thought that was really sort of cutting-edge tech metaphor there. I like that. The ego. So the two core illusions, anybody want to take a stab on this? What are the two core illusions above and beyond everything? Any idea? This is at the heart of the matter. Well, the ego mind will convince you that it's real with all those beliefs and concepts and conceptualizations and identities. Yeah, that's one. And the flip side, of course, is that the true self, who you truly are, that's unreal. And they're both blatant lies. They're the two core illusions. If you see through those, you're already back with us. If you see through both these illusions, you can come into what you could call basic sanity, or original sanity, or the sanity you were born with, which is the term Trumpa came up with, which I liked a lot. Some people call it brilliant sanity. There's a writer, Lewis Hoffman, and another person also, they call it that. But essentially it's just returning to terra firma and what's here, what's now, and what is. What's in your backpack? In the illusory realm, well, everything, of course, all those things, all your relationships, and you're chasing thoughts and these false identities and conceptualizations coming out of your ears. And that's the illusory realm. And that's how, in fact, this backpack isn't big enough. The world isn't big enough. There's different levels of analysis. They get confused, category error, and it occurs when you confuse the ego's illusory realm of concepts, conceptualizations of every sort, with the empirical world, like this table and this chair and the floor underneath your feet and all the rest. That's here and now. And it's continually changing in the relative world, with the absolute realm, which of course is changeless and unknowable and essentially unfathomable. And if you're not really clear which realm you're talking about, it gets incredibly confusing all the time. You kind of come back to just sort of pause, watch, and see. And that's all pretty clean. The interesting part, of course, in this illusory world, having gone into all of this, is any of this even real? I'm not talking about how you experience it and feel it, but all the ways you think about it and hold it and conceptualize it and put it in little compartments. Is really any of that real? Or is all that just made up, confabulated? Like the pathological liar on Saturday Night Live. Yeah, it turns out just to be perception. And what needs cleaning and healing are our perceptions, ultimately. So, or is this simply all Maya? Just illusion, the illusion of separation, whatever the mind is dreaming itself up and pretending to be in this moment, that we're buying. We didn't make that up. The mind made it up in past conditioning and all the rest, maybe even genetic predisposition for all we know, but we're the one buying into it. We're the one going along with the carnival. We're the one jumping on that train and it's leaving the station. And we don't even know we're on the train. But we stepped on the train and it's moving somewhere. God knows where. So I talked a little bit about Maya, meaning know that. In Sanskrit, it really means wizardry or illusion, and literally know that, the ego. Yeah. Ego, edging God out, EGO, an acronym. Nice way to look at it. Because nothing happens in the past or the future. It's all happening right here, right now.